Here we go, we are live from Palm Springs, California, 9 minutes past the hour. Welcome to our old friends, old and new, for our weekly rundown of the news, and also special topic today, a special topic. Of course, we will be discussing this ever so invasive presence of drones in what they call the meatverse. Yes, there is the metaverse, and then we are considered the meatverse by the elite. Yeah. So we are ready to deliver a very particular show, aside from the fact that, of course, we want to thank all those people who have made this book #1 in the chart film and video of Amazon. Continue to purchase this book, almost 700 pages, and only for the Christmas period, I'm giving you this book at $23, which is really a very low price, so to make it accessible to everybody. So the music is here. The sound of the Leo Zagami Show with Leo and Christy. Christy, how are you this week?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Is this in 432 hertz?
It's in whatever frequency we have from our modest setup.
Christy. Well, you need to fix it.
Oh, okay, yes. Okay, we will indeed. Though, I mean, as we have
it. It could be, though.
It could be, yes, of course.
It's supposed to be a little bit, it's dancing pop, so yes, it's supposed to be like that.
On a twisted frequency. On a twisted frequency.
Don't get twisted.
Don't get twisted. Hello, Bruce. Hello, David.
Hi, everyone.
Leah. Hello, Ian. Hello,
hi,
Nikos. Hello, Tina. Hello, everybody who is tuning in. We are broadcasting at the moment from our main English-speaking channel, the Leo Zagami Show, Lesole, which has also been offering in the last few days some snippets. We call them like this. Snippets, extracts. Clips of based on my book. So you basically can interact between the book and these videos which I posted on the Leo Zagami Show. Hello, Corey, brother Corey. Greetings from Democrat occupied Arizona. I know Arizona seems to be really on a bad.
What's going on with
Arizona? The governor.
We thought we liked Arizona.
I know, but the governor wants to go after all the conservatives. It's a mess. It's a mess.
And what the heck is happening with
Twitter? Well, oh my God, it's Elon Musk who wants to be, of course, on top, headlining the news every day, and he actually is managing to do so. But we have also other news coming from the ever so cold United States of America. Christy, America.
It's America, really, America the beautiful.
America, it's cold.
It's cold. Love America.
And it's cold. America is very cold. There is
even
here in Palm Springs, California, there is a lot of cold weather, believe it or not. There is also a lot of missiles arriving in Ukraine after this never-ending war seems to get even worse, I must say. It's sad to see that, the Pope Francis has said, give all your spare money to Ukraine. Well, it means give all your spare money to Ukraine. But really, America looks like the day after tomorrow. One of the 10 movies listed here in my book as one of the favorite movies of the World Economic Forum. As you can see, the cold is cold.
I like that movie.
Yeah, well,
it was in New York.
For the entertainment value, not for the message that they supposedly sends about some kind of climate change due to mankind's intervention. We know that this climate change is, of course, the problem with climate change, it comes from a natural, nothing to do with man's intervention, natural cycle of things on this planet, on the magnetic fields, of course, that come the ever so strong from the sun, that create, of course, problems. But definitely, yes, a Christmas period with a lot of snow. for Father Christmas. Father Christmas, Santa Claus, as you prefer to call it here in the US, I guess. Yes, was vaccinated. Yeah, was vaccinated by Dr. Fauci. So we opened the show today with Dr. Fauci convincing a young child that he actually vaccinated Father Christmas. And it's incredible, but this is how it is. This is how it is. In this mad world of ours, welcome to the Leo Zagami Show.
Still be able to visit me in coronavirus season? What if he can't go to anyone's house or near his reindeer?
Well, I have to say I took care of that for you because I was worried that you'd all be upset. So what I did a little while ago, I took a trip up there to the North Pole. I went there and I vaccinated Santa Claus myself. I measured his level of immunity, and he is good to go. He can come down the chimney, he can leave the presents, he can leave, and you have nothing to worry about.
Oh, well, Fauci, we trust you. Yes, sure. Not. The problem with Dr. Fauci, he was supposed to retire in November, and we all hope.
Why are we still seeing him? It's the same with Pelosi.
It's same with Pelosi. Yes,
they don't go away.
I'm fixing here the cam. Is it a good position? You can see us well. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm always crooked.
Now you know. Okay, so we have a great Christmas tree, by the way. Ladies and gentlemen, our Christmas
tree. He's just a little guy.
little Christmas tree, but a fancy one. Okay, so the problem is that these people never go away. They never really go away. Nancy Pelosi, yes, she had this kind of dinner with it's just like, I mean, these people are a nightmare, and they don't go away. They don't go away. So I want to show you this. I mean, when I saw it, I'm not going to show you the whole thing, but when I saw it, I was shocked. It was basically the most demented of demented discussion between two people who think they are smart, who belittle, who in some way belittle, you can say that, Trump. And sorry, here it seems like we're having some just technical difficulty in getting these things out of the way in some way. Okay, I guess that my Apple at the time, sometimes it goes out of control. Yeah. But we are ready to show you what we were supposed to show you if we manage to share it with you. Just a second, so we can eventually get it going. It's basically something that happened this week, which I'm trying to get here on from the camera, but it doesn't seem to.
Is that it right there?
Yeah, but it doesn't seem to get picked up. My let me see if I can get it going again, and see if I can show you this video. In the meantime, Christy is gonna sing you a Christmas carol.
No, I'm not.
Okay, no, she's not. Okay.
I don't want to do that to anybody.
Okay, is that torture?
What are you
I
going
can
to have?
sing
So these people,
not Christmas songs.
Okay, let's go back to the video that we're supposed to comment. Schumer and Pelosi having dinner.
What we get dumplings.
Hi, sorry I'm late. Hot and sour soup. That's what I was going to have.
Okay.
Nice bowl of soup on a cold day.
There you go. You actually first met at a meal like this in 1987.
And it's like January. And George Miller, who was my roommate, my landlord, he said, there's a new person joining our group. Her name is Nancy Pelosi. She's the new Congress member from San Francisco. And before I met her, she will become the first woman speaker. That's what he said. God's honest truth.
He was right. But what was interesting about it,
he used to be the lover of Kennedy's.
you really knew the first time.
Well, I knew she would really be a force.
Whatever that might be.
Yeah, would you like for some appetizers?
So I'll have an order of shrimp dumplings.
Okay.
And then I'll have some string beans.
Talk to me about your relationship. The two of you finish each other's sentences. You're on the phone constantly.
415-730, and I'm not going to say the last
No,
four
please.
digits.
You know everybody's phone number.
But hers, and I probably dial hers more than just about anyone other than people in my family.
Well, here's the thing. I say this all the time. He has a, what do you call that phone?
Flip phone.
A flip phone. If he had a regular smartphone.
No, but you see, that's Schumer. Schumer is not an idiot. He knows exactly that the smartphone is a device of control and manipulation. And so, what does he use? An old school flip phone, just like those. What do you call Ben phone?
Yeah,
Burner, yes.
We could reduce the number of conversations because I could just text him.
How would you describe your relationship? You're called the power couple. You're called an odd couple.
Yeah, we're
friends.
close friends. It's
They're
almost
friends.
like brother and sister. A little
That's-
bit.
Brother and sister, that's great. So, whatever. But I wanted to make you listen to this brief excerpt from this demented interview because of this thing. I always notice that when you have really smart people from the elite, they don't use smartphones. And so Pelosi seems to be the one instead that is inviting Schumer to buy a smartphone, but he continues in his traditional way. And he might be right, because this is a world of control, of oppression. Now, some people have said that the title of today's video is not a novelty because these mosquitoes have been around for a while, and that's true. The novelty, though, came to me from an article that I read, a very interesting article, in which this lady, who is a good investigative journalist, pointed out to the fact, she's called Karen Hunt, aka K.H. Medzek, that imagine our world as a giant petri dish and we are all inside of it. Experiments can be conducted on our wet fare. There will be no escape from the drones. So this is really where we are heading. We are heading towards a prison planet in the real sense of the term. So I really liked her analysis, and of course we can listen to a little bit.
Hello to all my readers and listeners. It is Karen Hunt, aka KH Majak, and I have been writing furiously. I don't know what's going on with me, but I have a lot on my mind, and I'm trying to get it all out there for my readers. So this is a bit of a long piece here, and it's
so you understand. She goes, of course, is a bit of a long piece, but what she discusses is very interesting regarding also the way they call us the metaverse. So the metaverse is a virtual reality space. Instead, the metaverse, you will not find this word defined anywhere on the internet. It is the word the technocrats derisively use when describing the real world. So the real world for them is the metaverse.
Is that because we eat meat?
No, because we are meat. We are made of substance.
And they want it.
No, they are of course caging us in a virtual reality, but at the same time, at the moment, we are still protagonists of the metaverse. So in June 2018, Oculus executive Jason Rubin sent an email to Facebook board member Mark Andreessen with the subject line, the metaverse. And we know now that, of course, in the last few months, there has been a lot of talk about the choice made by Zuckerberg in embracing fully this metaverse, a place where users float through a digital universe of virtual ads filled with virtual goods that people buy. Basically, in the end, there will be virtual people that they marry while spending as little time as possible in the so-called metaverse, referring to the real world because humans are flesh and blood. But then we have we are just pieces of meat to our controllers concept, which I really liked in this article. And I want to show you how they plan to be ever so invasive in our reality, using these spy drones that can literally microchip us. Let's see 10 tiny micro robots and nano drones. And this is, of course, the Leo Zagami Show. Welcome, everybody. Please share this video in your social network of choice.
In the future, it may be possible to make robots so tiny you can't even see them. We're not there yet, but we're getting pretty close. Here are the top 10 incredible micro robots. Number 10. Micro scallops. Robots are generally powered by electricity and require complex motors to move. But when it comes to developing microscopic robots, that might not work out so well. One special robot, however, bypasses such limitations. These microscallops can swim through bodily fluids and even into your eyes. Rather than electricity, they are powered by an external magnetic field. These robots are being developed to deliver drugs to places that can't be reached by human hands. Talk about the future of medicine. Number 9. Black Hornet spy drones. In the near future, the United States Army plans to equip nearly all of its combat troops with tiny drones that can spy on enemy forces from the sky. These drones are known as Black Hornets and are small enough to fit in one hand. These Black Hornets can fly over 13 miles per hour and can take HD photos and live video. They have the potential to change the world's militaries as they provide unmanned security for military soldiers. Number 8. Zuda Pocket Printer. While most of the robots on this list have more serious applications such as medical breakthroughs or military spies, this small robot is a bit more for convenience or even novelty. If you're an office geek, the Zuda Mini Mobile Robotic Printer will surely make it to the top of your wish list. Beginning on Kickstarter, the pocket printer weighs just 350 grams and has a diameter of only 10 centimeters. While most printers take up at least a square foot of space on your desk, this one will fit in your hoodie pocket. This tiny printer has a battery that'll last about an hour, and it's going to need it. It takes about a minute just to print one page because it prints slowly, gliding across the page. While the printer is not yet on the market, it has entered production after its successful campaign on Kickstarter. Number 7. Cyborg Beetle. While it's not technically a robot, this creation is an incredible example of scientific ingenuity. Popularly known as the Cyborg Beetle Project, a man named Hirotaka Sato from Nanyang Technical University in Singapore and his colleagues have combined electronics with live beetles to allow the beetles to be remote controlled by humans. By implanting 6 electrodes into the beetle's wing muscles and powering them with a lithium battery, scientists have harnessed control of this beetle's flight. Not only can they control which direction the beetle flies in, but they can also make it land, take off, or hover in place. Should this technology be developed further, its uses are boundless. It could be used for exploration, espionage, or even communication by the attachment of small microphones. Beetles are the perfect insect for the project. Because they are relatively strong, it's easier to attach electronics and sensors without weighing them down. Number 6. RoboBee. After 12 years of research, Harvard scientists were able to create a tiny flying robot known as RoboBee. RoboBee isn't any normal micro-robot or insect-like drone. RoboBee was one of the first robots to achieve flight. With a wingspan of only 3 centimeters, RoboBee is the smallest insect-like robot that can fly. That's not all. RoboBee solved 2 previously unconquerable challenges that come with micro-robots. First, RoboBee was built through a process that was inspired by pop-up books that allows engineers to build on such a tiny scale. Second, to be able to fly, RoboBee contains man-made muscles that beat its wings 120 times per second. The aim of RoboBee is to eventually develop a fully autonomous swarm of flying insect robots. Theories for its applications vary greatly, from search and rescue missions to crop pollination. The greatest challenges with the development of RoboBee, however, are supplying power and decision-making capabilities. Currently, RoboBee is connected to a small tether that supplies its power and allows someone to control it. To reach its goals, the development of RoboBee has been divided into 3 categories: brain, body, and colony. Development of the brain consists of dealing with RoboBee's sensors, electronics, and ability to mimic insect behavior without a human controlling it. Body development consists of RoboBee's physical construction and engineering, including its ability to fly. Finally, colony development emphasizes RoboBee's ability to function in a full swarm of RoboBees, with each one behaving for the benefit of the swarm. Number 5. RoboFly. The idea of robots the size of insects brings optimism to many people from many industries. Whether it's spying on enemy soldiers or inspecting crops on a farm, the possibilities are endless. But insect-like robots are not easy to engineer. Because insect robots have such tiny wings, it's very limiting on how heavy the electronics can be. Hence, why RoboBee needed a small tether. Fortunately, a group of engineers from the University of Washington, including one who also worked on RoboBee, has also developed an untethered flying robotic insect. Known as RoboFly, this machine weighs about as much as a toothpick. How does it work without a tether sending power to it? A laser beam. The minuscule circuit attached to its body converts energy from a laser beam into the electricity it needs to power itself. To give it an extra boost, a specially designed circuit and photovoltaic cell provide up to 240 volts to power its wings. But its energy source isn't the only thing that makes this insect superior to RoboBee. Unlike RoboBee, which also relied on its tether to be controlled by humans, RoboFly has been provided a brain. This specialized brain mimics the brain of a real fly and tells its wing muscles when to flap. A more sophisticated successor to RoboBee, RoboFly is the future of micro-robots. In the near future, RoboFly will be given superior brains that will bring it closer to fulfilling the dream of a self-determining, swarming insect robot. Number 4. Ant-sized microbots. Considering these robots are only about 2 millimeters long, barely the size of an ant, battery power is out of the question. These so-called micro-bristle bots are instead powered by tiny vibrations delivered via ultrasound, a vibrating surface, or even a small speaker. Developed by robotic engineers at Georgia Tech, these microbots are made out of 3D printed polymer resin. Each robot has a number of bristles that act as its legs. Resting on the back of each robot is an electric actuator or operation device. When vibrations are administered to the microbots, their slanted bristle legs move up and down, allowing the robots to move around. The actuators on their backs are also capable of providing vibration to the legs, but considering the size of the robots, it's difficult to fit a power source onto the actuator. The microbots developers hope to employ electric fields to power the actuators in the near future. The speed at which these robots move is determined by the amount of vibrations being sent through them. And by modifying a microbot's leg size and other aspects, the bots can be changed to react differently based on the frequency of the vibrations. Researchers theorize that by conjoining two microbots with different physical designs, they may be able to control the robots by manipulating the vibrations to each side. One of the most ambitious hopes for these robots is to use this simple but impressive technology to move throughout the human body, probably for medical purposes. Number 3. Piccolissimo. Speaking of the world's smallest robots, one of them is so tiny that it contains only 2 moving parts. While big, flying machines like helicopters are great for transporting people or objects, micro-robots require just as much genius as far as engineering goes. One tiny robot developed at the University of Pennsylvania is easily one of the most sophisticated. Its name is Piccolissimo, which has a double meaning. Piccolissimo is the Italian word for smallest, but Piccolissimo is also named after its inventor, Matt Piccoli. While there are many robots that are smaller than Piccolissimo, it still holds the title of being the smallest self-powered and controllable flying robot in the world. No other tiny robot is as powerful as or able to be driven like this tiny flyer. But just how tiny is the University of Pennsylvania's little creation? It's only about the size of a quarter, and it's made up of just 2 moving parts. One of them is the propeller, which spins rapidly and a little off-center. The other is the robot's 3D printed body section, which also spins at about 40 rotations per second. The tiny robot maneuvers around by small changes in the body's spin speed, allowing it to move in different directions. The robot is steered by an infrared signal controller. As of now, the robot's sole function is flight. However, it was designed to be modified for countless functions. But considering the robot's size and weight, additional functions would need to be kept small and light, as the robot's maximum load is a mere gram. Matt Piccoli has mentioned the ability to add code scanner cameras. Piccolissimo also has the potential for practical applications. While it's an extremely small and relatively simple machine, that's what makes this robot perfect for several jobs. Because it doesn't require any complex computing or expensive technology, Piccolissimo is also cheap and somewhat disposable. Rather than sending in an intricate and costly robot to investigate some sort of theoretical problem, this robot can be sent in with minimal loss if it fails or gets damaged. Number 2. Robotic pill. When thinking about a future where robots are commonplace and heavily integrated into our society, most people tend to think of robot soldiers or butlers. However, one of the most common uses of robots currently in development is for medical purposes. When taking medicine, there aren't many people who would rather take an injection over swallowing a pill. Unfortunately, there are many drugs that can't simply be swallowed and need to be injected. One of the most well-known of these is insulin, but one medicine company has found a solution. Located in San Jose, California, Rani Therapeutics is a biotherapeutics company that has created a robotic pill designed to save people from having to take shots. The reason drugs such as insulin can't be taken orally is because the human digestive system will quickly break the drug down before it has a chance to work. This robotic pill, known as the Ronnie pill, is a normal-sized pill armed with a tiny needle. Once it enters the stomach, the robot aligns itself with the intestinal wall and injects the drug. The procedure is painless as the stomach wall does not contain pain receptors. While testing of this robotic pill has shown absolute success in animals, it's difficult to get clinical feedback from animals because they can't tell you what they feel. But the Clinical Research Organization in Texas has conducted human testing of the Ronnie pill. The test was conducted on 2 groups of subjects, one group that took the pill after eating and another group that took the pill on an empty stomach. Each subject took an empty Ronnie pill to test the viability of the device without any drugs. Using x-rays to track the robotic pills, the device proved safe and painless for both groups of patients. Test subjects reported feeling nothing even when the pill needle pricked their stomach walls. There were no side effects. Ronnie Therapeutics hopes that this combined feat of engineering and biochemistry will bring a better quality of life to people across the world. On average, a patient with type 1 diabetes and no insulin pump will have to stick a needle into themselves between 700 and 1,000 times per year. The successful development of the Ronnie pill would save these patients a lot of pain. If the drug-filled tests are completely successful, we may be seeing more of these robotic pills in the near future. Honorable Mention 1. Kilobot. To some, 1,000 tiny robots running around in a swarm might be a futuristic fantasy, but to many, it sounds just as terrifying as a swarm of cockroaches. Around 2011, a group of roboticists from Harvard University developed a small unit of about 25 robots. By 2015, they had over 1,000. These kilobots are tiny robots created by Harvard researchers Radhika Nagpal and Michael Rubenstein. They stand less than 3.5 centimeters tall and are swarm robots. Swarm robots are a classification of robots designed as multiple individual robots that work together as part of a singular system. A popular example of this at work is in coordinated drone displays, such as the one presented at Lady Gaga's Super Bowl performance in 2017. Although these robots are called kilobots, they aren't armed with any dangerous weaponry. In fact, kilobots are completely harmless. Each one costs less than $14 to build. The robots move around by vibrations sent through their legs. They communicate with the rest of the swarm through infrared transmissions. While each robot does little more than wiggle around, sometimes messing up or breaking down, when you have over 1,000, the collective swarm will succeed. In dealing with swarm robotics, most developers stick with constructing the robots digitally using 3D modeling and simulation software. Before these Harvard researchers built their miniature army, most roboticists wouldn't have dared to spend resources on building non-digital creations. What do these robots do? As of now, their most developed skill is self-assembly. By communicating with each other, the robots are able to organize themselves into various shapes, such as a starfish. But many believe that these kinds of robots can be used to better understand natural behavior, such as in schools of fish or even humans. Honorable Mention 2. Blood cleaning robots. If someone announced 30 years ago that they were creating intelligent robots small enough to swim through your human blood veins, they would have been called crazy. But in this technological era, scientists have made unbelievable discoveries time and time again. Roboticists at the University of California, San Diego have created microscopic robots that have the ability to cleanse human blood of bacterial pollutants from the inside. These machines, referred to as cell-like nanorobots, are powered by ultrasound and are able to swim through blood to remove bacteria and their toxins. Each nanobot is about 25 times smaller than the width of a single strand of hair and swims at a rate of 35 micrometers per second. The nanorobots are built by combining gold nanowires with the membranes of human blood cells and platelets. The hybrid membrane coating gives the nanorobots the benefits of 2 different kinds of cells: red blood cells, which counteract the toxins generated by bacteria, and platelets, which limit pathogens. As an added benefit, the membrane coating also shields the nanorobots from biofouling, a bodily defense mechanism during which proteins cling onto foreign objects to prevent them from harming the body. While these nanorobots are still in development, researchers are hopeful that the technology could be monumental in the field of medicine. During clinical testing, blood samples polluted by a type of bacteria called MRSA were treated with nanorobots. Within 5 minutes, the samples contained 3 times less bacteria. According to researchers in charge of the cell-sized nanorobots, the end goal is not only to use them to treat MRSA bacterial infections, but also to cleanse biological fluids in general. The researchers also intend to perform tests on animals and craft the nanowires found within the membranes out of biodegradable materials rather than gold. Number 1. Cell-sized nanobots. The researchers from California, however, are not the only ones who have engineered nanorobots. A group of scientists at MIT has created robots just as small and much more complex. The nanorobots from MIT are the same size as a human egg cell. They are made up of two-dimensional electronic circuits attached to tiny particles called colloids. A colloid is a mixture, or the particles in a mixture, that cannot be dissolved, so they remain floating throughout a substance. By combining nanorobotic technology with colloids, the researchers aim to develop robots that can move through substances to perform diagnostics. While medical researchers hope to send these nanobots through the human bloodstream or digestive tract, some have pointed out other uses, such as in oil pipelines and plumbing. Smaller than a grain of sand, these nanobots are so tiny they can literally float in the air and could potentially be used to measure atmospheric properties. What really sets these nanobots apart, however, is that they are designed to be controllable. While other devices can match these nanobots in size, they rely on the flowing of liquids and air to move. The MIT researchers are specifically looking at ways to make their nanobots more mobile, such as by adding tail-like flagella. These nanobots are also self-powered. Using a tiny semiconductor, a small jolt of electricity powers the robot's miniature circuits. Regarding these nanobots, one thing's for sure, should they turn out successful, biotechnology will never be the same. That's all we have for you today, folks, and thank you.
Daily top 10 of this increasing nightmare. Let me straighten up here the camera. Okay, welcome to the Leo Zagami Show. We are discussing here this scenario, which is kind of nightmarish and was outlined in an article which we are discussing. We are just pieces of meat to our controllers. Wetware, software, hardware. The human body is now being described in terms that are similar to robots, making us seem as if our differences are only technical. The human body and central nervous systems are wetware, as opposed to software. And I don't like that at all. That's horrible. So this is how they describe the wetware, where neural networks and similar artificial intelligence technologies will be described as hardware. The human brain that they attempt to simulate a model will be the wetware. But then we saw these drones, the control surveillance state, of course, that is increasing. We have everybody monitored in every single city. We have an increasing number of cameras that are supposed to work with what is basically a sort of smart, they call it smart, but we know everything smart is satanic. As I outlined in this book, there is always a very important presence of MIT's research in all this. You know, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, which is the one that worked with the Club of Rome to outline what became the limits of growth, that important manifesto in 1972 that was later presented at the Davos, at the World Economic Forum, the year later, by BITCHUTE. And this is basically, see, thanks to COVID, citizens came to accept greater and greater levels of control. Thanks a lot, COVID. So, this is how it is. Drones can be equipped with so-called stingrays to collect information from people's mobile phones, night vision. But then you have the drones of the future. The drones of the future are like mosquito drones. Mosquito drones that basically will create... What?
See, I just saw a guy dressed up like a girl. Or maybe it was a man.
No, the guy, I guess, here, the philanthropist Jennifer Pritzker looks like a man.
Oh, that's the one. I'm sorry.
And the left Illinois governor. No, really, well, she looks really,
Poor woman.
Whatever. So, in any case, these people that are encouraging all this have also let us know that other monitor devices can be planted by these mosquito drones, like RFIDs, radio frequency identification chips that are implanted at the moment in passports and driving licenses and so on. But they can be at that point also deployed through these mosquito drones. And this is what's going to happen. Let me show you here. Of course, we have here a scenario with drones, people, and all that. But there is one image, this. This is the mosquito drone. This it can land on you. It may have the potential to take a DNA sample or leave an RFID tracking nanotechnology on your skin.
Isn't that what they want to put under for the mark of the beast?
Well, that's the problem. That's why the show today is so important, because it means that you don't even have a choice anymore.
No, but that's not right.
Well, of course, that's not right.
Well, I think God's going to do something about this, because this is not right.
This is not right. And I think that we need to work more and more on electromagnetic devices that can repel the presence of these drones, just as we repel mosquitoes, just as we repel the fastidious mosquitoes. We need to repel the mosquito drones. You understand? Because they, in the future, will be much more dangerous than a mosquito. And all this, of course, the nano spy robot mosquito drone from the US military, which was presented a few years back. Let's go and check it out. Welcome to the Leo Zagami Show. Please help us with GoFundMe, Fundly, Cash App. This is the Leo Zagami Show. Today's topic is a rather disturbing one, and actually we went and checked out, and definitely she's not a woman. She used to be a man. She transitioned. They transitioned.
But is that
no? That was
what they look alike.
Well, I guess yeah. Well, I guess the guy is the brother. Is a relative. No? They are from the Pritzker family. That basically, you see, Jennifer Pritzker, a male who identifies as transgender, devotes their massive fortune to funding transgender ideology of synthetic sexual identities.
That's weird.
Synthetic. Imagine a scenario where a drone, having evaluated you as being at risk of heart disease, implants a device in you that will monitor what you eat and stuff, and then perhaps the AI will determine your son is really a girl, and so he will decide to transition, because at that point the AI will know better and will know and would say, oh, your son needs to become a lady, become a woman. Oh. This is the sick society, guys, that we are going. This is sick society. So at any time, drones can swap down, take samples from us, or inject us with whatever drug AI determines we need, aside from injecting us with a possible
okay, so then it's not a will anymore? We don't have a choice?
That's why this
Where's the choice?
The choice is to avoid this society by avoiding the cities that will be hell on earth soon, and construct our own cities, towns, as far as possible from these fuckers, and creating a magnetic device that can disturb, electromagnetic device that can disturb the drones. And so here you see, says such a skin-like device is being developed in a project between the U.S. Department and the University of Chicago Pritzker School of Molecular Engineering. So the Pritzker School of Molecular Engineering linked to this family, to these people, including this monster here. These people, I mean, I'm starting to notice that really, when it comes down to transgenders, we have seen it lately with the nuclear waste scandal guy who was stealing, he had the fetish of stealing luggage all over the place and then wearing women panties. These people are perverse. These people are something else, man. We need to rediscuss all this. But if you listen to Nancy and Jim, they're fine with all it. They are the ones behind it.
When you disagree, who wins?
Usually her.
No. When we disagree, then we end the conversation, and we know we're going to come back.
We had a pretty tough one a week ago, right? What was it?
What was it about?
I don't even remember.
I don't remember what it was, but it was, shall we say, candid.
Candid, yes.
I want to talk about how the two of you navigated working with former President Trump.
And this is when they actually claim that President Trump was like a child and they set him up, Nancy said, which
I can't listen to
this is insane.
I can't listen to
These
it.
people are insane. These people are insane. And this insanity, of course, brings us to discuss the topic of today, but also to discuss something else, because we have so much news for today. Let's go and check out a second this statement by our president. Well, unfortunately, our president at the moment is called Joe Biden. And he came out yesterday with such an idiotic thing. I mean, can you explain me this? Maybe you understand it better.
I don't understand him at all. So don't ask me.
I may be Irish, but I'm not stupid.
No.
I married Dominic Giacoppa's daughter, so I got a little Italian in me now.
Okay, so that doesn't make you stupid. Let me tell you, the Italo-Americans, I'm Italian and I'm Italo-American. We might be. But I mean, so what does it mean? He wants to be like some kind of mafiosi, implies that it's smarter to be an Italian than an Irishman. I don't understand this guy when you have to explain me.
Don't try to understand him, right?
Let's not try to understand them. Yes. In the meantime, welcome to the Leo Zagami show. You can help us, like I said earlier, with GoFundMe, with Fundly, if you are in Great Britain or in America, with Cash App, and encouraging us to move further with the production of shows also during the week. Unfortunately, we are not there yet. We can hardly produce this show with the donations we receive. So for this reason, we also invite you to purchase my latest book, Confessions of an Illuminati, Volume 8. This book rocks, guys, in every sense. And of course, all the others that I have written, and Christy also has written some great books. But please, guys, check out this book this month, because it's only $23. We worked 6 months incessantly to produce this book in 2 languages. This is the first
It's going
book.
very well, though. People are really
2-language book,
buying.
guys. A very smart book that explains you the level of manipulation. And I talk in this book about Ozzy Osbourne and his wife, because Ozzy Osbourne, of course, is somebody who has been dealing with the devil for a long time. He might come out as funny at times. He was, of course, involved with metal music and with the dark side of rock, let's say. Then he made a song called Mr. Crowley. His wife, though, seems to have had a problem, guys. TMZ has reported this morning, and she's been rushed to hospital after medical emergency. We wish her, of course, all the best. But Sharon Osbourne was actually working on a paranormal show dealing with ghosts. Now, I don't know if that's really the best thing you can do at that age. Dealing with ghosts, dealing with the paranormal, instigating maybe something that shouldn't be.
Because when you explain, like, when you're interested in something.
Well, also when you are dealing with Portuguese phenomena, this was the Travel Channel's Ghost Adventures. The hotel was once, I mean, its sources with direct knowledge tell us all went down Friday night. Sharon fell ill on the set of the unnamed show, which we heard is to do with the paranormal. It was not clear if the cameras were rolling. The hotel was once featured on an episode of the Travel Channel Ghost Adventures. This might have been a new show. Always based on this topic. A representative from the Ventura County Fire Department told TMZ EMS workers responded to a medical call at tavern around 6:30 p.m. yesterday and transported one patient to Santa Paula Hospital. Santa Paula Hospital Chief Don Aguilar confirmed Sharon was the patient. We reached out, the TMZ says, to Glen Tavern, and the manager said there was an emergency, but they declined to provide details. We do not know Sharon's current condition. Now, like I said, Sharon has hit a rough patch lately. As you know, she's been taking care of her husband, rock and roll legend Ozzy Osbourne, who's suffering from Parkinson's disease and other health issues. The devil doesn't bring anything positive in your life in the end.
It's all a lie, really.
And
you get some money and some fame, but then you have to pay a price.
Absolutely. It's sad.
I mean, your eternal soul. You're paying the price for your internal soul. You know.
Another news that relates also to volume 8 of my confessions. We have touched on this other subject, the subject of music inspiring massacres and the topic of rappers that nowadays become themselves involved in killing people. Now, this news comes from the father of one of these shooters. You might remember him, of course, with his hideous face. I'm going to show it to you in a second. If you haven't any memory about who he is. But basically the father has been arrested. So it means like, you remember Robert Crimo Jr., the father of the alleged Highland Park Parade gunman, was hit with 7 counts of reckless conduct in connection to helping his son obtain the gun. Prosecutors say it was used in the July rampage that left 7 dead. Now, this is a topic that I have discussed. Of course, this is Crimo shot 30 people, several wounded in this gunfire on the 4th of July parade, if you remember, and it was a terrible event. And of course, I talked about these rappers, the one also that over a year ago now attacked also that Christmas parade, if you remember. And so, what do you think about all this, Christy? For those who don't know what we are talking about, I can show you also the image of this guy. But what do you think of the fact that there is an increased number of people here? You can see the rapper. This is the guy who
he's crazy.
He's crazy. Who went on to. This is instead the one whose father has now been convicted. I mean, look what kind of face he has.
That guy is disturbing too.
Music can really inspire evil things.
Yeah.
And this book explains you why, and that's why I regard it as an important work of my literary career, just as Volume 7, I guess. Now, Volume 7, as you know, is also available in a hardback copy. Now, if you would like Volume 8 to be in a hardback copy, please write to me, to my email, ordoilluminatorum@gmail.com, because if we have enough interest, we might then provide you with a hard copy, hardcover. It's an expensive procedure, so we will not do it if there is not enough people interested. I'm not talking about 1 or 2 people. Volume 6.66, this is another important book to do with the age of cyber Satan, artificial intelligence, and robotics, which we have just analyzed what's happening in ever so sick world, in which we are increasingly surrounded by these robots that are going to be controlled by what's eventually going to become cyber Satan.
We have to get out of the big cities. Because you could be somebody who's making all the right choices, but then you don't move because maybe you can't move.
Somebody asked me, what about Volume 8 and David Lynch? We talk about David Lynch also in Volume 8 of my Confessions.
And Timothy Leary.
Timothy Leary.
All the main people.
Many people,
all the main
many figures.
Evils.
People that sometimes were aware of the evil that was spreading, others they were less aware, but they were all part of a plan. The plan is to craft and mold this society in a way that will embrace the Antichrist, Antichrist. And regarding the Antichrist, okay, let's go to the royal family. As you know, those who have read Volume 8 of my Confessions, I talk very much of the royal family in my book because they are indicated by many as the place where, you know, this Antichrist could spring out from. And it's definitely a family that has been very much connected to the music business, bestowing recognitions on the Beatles with the Queen, then later on Mick Jagger, with the Prince Charles at the time, now King Charles III, and of course their direct link with Jimmy, with the guy, let's say the biggest pedophile of all time. So here we don't want to, of course, spoil too much of this book for you, but definitely the presence of the royal family is prominent in this book because of their links with this whole process that, of course, is bringing you all the way, you know, the Lady Gaga in front of the Queen, or we have these three gentlemen at the Queen's birthday at the time. I'm talking about Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein, and Ghislaine Maxwell. Now, there has been some news, and Ghislaine Maxwell here with Mick Jagger, sympathy for the Jagger, and then you have Jimmy Savile, the biggest pedophile of all time, with the King. Guys, get this book. Of course, I continue to tell you that it's thanks to the book, or thanks to your donations, that we can carry on eventually this show and bring you extra episodes during the week. But regarding Ghislaine Maxwell, there has been some news that actually I wanted to discuss. Let's see if I can find it here. In the meantime, Christy, you can continue to sing your Christmas carol.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Hey! Okay, so
I can't sing. I can sing one song, but
it's not too bad.
Not that one.
No, not that one.
No.
Yeah, you actually can sing, Christy. You can sing, and you sing very well. But you have your favorite songs, of course. And what happened with Ghislaine Maxwell? Maxwell docs unsealed Epstein victim, claims she has Epstein blackmail videos that expose wealthy elite. Now,
well, she's been saying that for how long now?
No, but now we have the Maxwell documents that have been unsealed. That basically,
well, they need to show that.
This is definitely something that brings us to discuss what this wealthy elite was doing. A New York federal court on Monday released more documents regarding Ghislaine Maxwell defamation lawsuit filed by Epstein victim Virginia Giuffre. Most of the documents, as you would expect, were heavily redacted when it comes to revealing names of the wealthy elite. Why this woman is in jail and we don't have anybody of these people from the elite who are being questioned?
Because they're all in it together. Right?
Yeah, well, I find it really unbearable, this whole hypocrisy, and we can discuss also the killing of JFK, which this week came back because, you know, when for the last time, I hope, they have once again decided to keep some information from us. Tucker Carlson went on his show and he actually managed to have some direct information from a guy from the CIA who confirmed the involvement of the CIA in the murder of JFK. So the murder was actually an internal affair. We knew it all along. There was no mafia, no Russians, no anything. It was an internal affair, and I think that Tucker did an excellent job in exposing all this. And now let's see for a moment Tucker's take on it.
Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. So not long after Jack Ruby shot Lee Harvey Oswald on camera in the basement of Dallas Police Headquarters, a lot of Americans started to have some questions about the Kennedy assassination. It was, you'd have to admit, a pretty extraordinary sequence of events. A lone gunman murders the President of the United States, and then, less than 48 hours later, that lone gunman is himself murdered by another lone gunman. What are the odds of that? It's one thing if you get struck by lightning, rare but possible. But if every member of your family also gets struck by lightning all on different days, you might begin to suspect these are not entirely natural events. But oh, replied the U.S. government, they are. This bizarre chain of killings was all entirely natural. So less than a year after the JFK assassination, the Johnson White House released something called the Warren Commission Report. And the report concluded that while their motives remained unclear, both Lee Oswald and Jack Ruby had acted alone. No one helped them. There was no conspiracy of any kind. Case closed. Time to move on. And many Americans did move on. At the time, they had no idea how shoddy and corrupt the Warren Commission was. It would be nearly 50 years before the CIA admitted under duress that, in fact, it had withheld information from investigators about its relationship with Lee Harvey Oswald. But even then, at the time, before that was known, the government's explanation didn't seem entirely plausible, and some people started asking obvious questions about it. It was at that point, as Americans started to doubt the official story, that the term conspiracy theory entered our lexicon. As Professor Lance DeHaven Smith points out in his book on the subject, the term conspiracy theory did not exist as a phrase in everyday American conversation before 1964. In 1964, the year the Warren Commission issued its report, the New York Times published 5 stories in which conspiracy theory appeared. Now today, of course, the term conspiracy theory appears in pretty much every New York Times story about American politics. It's wielded, now as then, as a weapon against anyone who asks questions the government doesn't feel like answering. But despite 60 years of name-calling, those questions have not disappeared. In fact, they have multiplied with time. And here's one of them. In April of 1964, a psychiatrist called Louis Joylin West visited Jack Ruby in his isolation cell in a Dallas jail. According to West's written assessment, he found that Jack Ruby was, quote, technically insane and in need of immediate psychiatric hospitalization. Those are conclusions that, puzzlingly, no one who had spoken to Jack Ruby previously had reached. Ruby had seemed perfectly sane to the people who knew him. Louis Joylin West pronounced him crazy. But what West did not say was that he was working for the CIA at the time. Louis Joylin West was a contract psychiatrist for the spy agency. He was also an expert on mind control and a prominent player in the now infamous MK-Ultra program, in which the CIA gave powerful psychiatric drugs to Americans without their knowledge. So,
bingo! Finally, we get even a mention of the MK-Ultra on primetime TV with Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
A subject which, of course, is present in this book. And let's continue to listen to Tucker, because what he says, I think, demonstrate that we haven't really reached any clarity and any honesty on the murder of JFK.
Of all the psychiatrists in the world, what in the world was this guy doing in Jack Ruby's prison cell? The media did not seem interested in finding out. In fact, the New York Times, in an extensive 1999 obituary of West, never mentioned the fact that he had worked for the CIA, much less his time in Jack Ruby's cell, which seems relevant. So you can see why non-crazy people would wonder about what really happened. And of course, many have wondered. In 1976, long forgotten, the House of Representatives impaneled a special committee to reinvestigate the JFK assassination. Their bipartisan conclusion? Jack Kennedy was almost certainly murdered as the result of a conspiracy. But the question is, a conspiracy by whom? Well, the obvious suspect would be the CIA. Why else would the agency withhold critical evidence from investigators? Is there a benign explanation for that, for maintaining this level of secrecy for this many years? Not that we're aware of. And it is illegal. In 1992, Congress passed the President John F. Kennedy Assassination Records Collection Act. And that act mandated full disclosure of all documents by 2017, 54 years after JFK was killed. The last administration promised to comply fully with that law, but under intense pressure from CIA Director Mike Pompeo, withheld in the end thousands of pages of CIA documents. Today, this afternoon, the Biden administration did exactly the same thing. That would be thousands of pages of documents after nearly 60 years.
Once again, after 60 years, everybody's dead, but they still can't reveal the truth. And while I was watching this, Christy, you remember?
Yeah, you're a pervert.
Why? What happened?
You're a pervert on the breaks.
I'm a pervert on the breaks.
Yes.
Why? What happens? I like to watch my wife on the breaks.
You're a pervert. Stop it. I'm being professional.
Okay, so while I was watching this live on Fox the other day, at one point, remember, I said exactly what Tiger was saying on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is basically they want to protect the institution at this point, no longer the people.
Yeah.
You remember when I said that?
Yeah.
And in fact, it was kind of like a synchronicity.
Yeah.
After the death of every single person involved, but we still can't see them. Clearly, it's not to protect any person. They're all dead. It's to protect an institution. But why? Well, today we decided to find out. We spoke to someone who had access to these still hidden CIA documents, a person who was deeply familiar with what they contain. We asked this person directly, did the CIA have a hand in the murder of John F. Kennedy, an American president? And here's the reply we received verbatim. Quote, the answer is yes. I believe they were involved. It's a whole different country from what we thought it was. It's all fake. It's hard to imagine a more jarring response than that. Again, this is not a, quote, conspiracy theorist that we spoke to. Not even close. This is someone with direct knowledge of the information that once again is being withheld from the American public.
So, understand?
Yeah.
So what do you think of that?
I think that everything's a lie. Every single thing.
Absolutely.
Our whole existence.
Absolutely.
But you know, there's people that believe in America. There's people that believe in what America stands for, even though, you know, all these lies are coming out that you expose in your book. But I think that there's plenty of people that have the DNA inside of them to fight for America. They understand what America is about, and they're going to fight for America. And I'm one of them. I'm one of those people that I don't have any fear about fighting for America. So I don't know where that comes from.
In the meantime, Biden continues to like little girls, even from the military.
Hand over to the widow of the child, Sergeant First Class Heath Robinson. Beautiful little girl. Usually you hand the pen you sign with to the lead sponsor of the bill. And I handed it to her, and she held it and looked, and she gave me a kiss and said, thank you for my daddy.
I mean, you see, that is the real pervert, not the guy who maybe is touching his wife or washing his wife. I mean, that's a real pervert. That's a real pervert.
Don't do it right now.
No, okay. But that's a real pervert. There's a difference between a guy, an heterosexual male guy, male who likes the ladies, and instead a pervert who likes little girls. I mean, I find it repulsive, sick, that America can be headed by this monster. Please support the Leo Zagami show. You can do it with GoFundMe. We no longer have a PayPal, but you can use PayPal with GoFundMe, so you don't have any excuses. And then you have Fundly, and then you have Cash App. If you want to have more shows, please support us. Now I'm going to bring you to a place here in California, 2 months after the Queen died, the place where the elite likes to hang out. What is Santa Barbara?
I'm not going to go see them at Christmas. Your cousins.
This relative of mine. Well, look at the disrespect that Meghan has towards the whole office of the monarchy. I mean, the monarchy is a serious topic, guys.
Like, I curtsied as though I was like,
Oh no, what a loser. He's so...
Pleasure to meet you, Your Majesty.
It's horrible.
Was that okay?
It's absolutely horrible.
And you can see the guy's embarrassed.
She's absolutely...
Come on, guys. I mean, like I said, we might dislike the people who are involved in the royal house. In the royal house. No, I like
not their monarchy, but I like the whole idea.
You might not like King Charles or King Charles or Camilla or Prince William, but they represent the monarchy, and this is what they have been doing for a very long time, and you should show some respect. As she's being, they have taken 100 million from Netflix to do this bullshit documentary, ruining his relationship with the brother for 100 million when you are from such a family is just incredible. This is basically instead the Christmas celebrations of the royal family. As you can see, this is a very traditional setup, Christy. You know how it is. I mean, you've been involved with my mother, and so you
I think
show.
It's really.
I mean, they have traditions. They like
all
to
that tradition.
at Christmas time. And my mother is the head of the British expats. Used to be the head of the British expats in Italy, and of course. She was always every year at the embassy with their parties and stuff, and they have a tradition. And then we used to go to that Anglican church every year with the songs and stuff. I mean, you can't belittle the tradition like Meghan did. I mean, it's really rude. It's rude. It's something you shouldn't be doing. I mean, they have at least a traditional family. And it seems like, I mean, he could well be the Antichrist, but I mean, Harry is not really behaving much better, embracing Oprah Winfrey and all those people that are so fake. It's the kingdom of fakeness. Let me warn Harry here. This is the kingdom of fakeness, dear Harry.
Maybe he'll come to you one day. Say, cousin, help me.
Okay.
Get me away from her.
Get me away. Okay. So
we're close. So
we are disappointed. We are disappointed that Meghan really takes the money and behaves in such a way. Going always back to Europe, but not Great Britain. Great Britain is no longer part of the EU. The head of the European Union, Metsola, there's been a scandal. They don't really talk much about it here in the US, but the EU, that once was like this technocratic elite that was never touched by a scandal, has been touched suddenly in the last couple of weeks by an immense scandal with hundreds of thousands of euros, even millions that were sent from Qatar and Morocco, so they could influence even the choice for the image of the Qatar that now is guesting the World Soccer Cup. And this basically is what that loser of Metsola said, who is the head of this EU, about this corruption.
Well, there are many things we have done already, but many things we still have to do. There are too many, let's say, ways that decisions are taken that could be done better. Too many informal groupings that are potentially more amenable to influence. Too many organizations whose funding for transparency of funding is not clear. We will clamp down on everything, and we will make sure that I cannot say this will never happen again. This is criminal corruption, but I will make sure that everything is in place to make sure the parliament is not for sale.
You know why they're not talking about it so much here in the US? Because the corruption is all on the Socialist Party. All the socialist parties of Europe are involved in this scandal. Socialism, the backdoor of corruption in this case, these people who always claim, we are on the side of the people, these communists, these leftists that I profoundly hate, that have ruined Europe. and I had to flee Europe because of that. A Europe which is now saying they will censor Twitter, they will, they are what we don't want to become. Trust me, guys. Everything that is going on in Europe is wrong. Everything, absolutely everything that is going on in Europe is wrong. You don't want to have anything to do with Italy, Europe, and then Germany, basically, that is driving this whole show. These people are a bunch of idiots. They are continuing to send money, and the Pope is saying, give more money to Zelensky, who is now requesting another, I don't know how many billions. The other day,
just funding his cocaine habit.
Oh, no, but also funding the fact that the other day the wife went to Paris, asked for money, and then she went for a shopping spree, spending 40,000 euros. I mean, this is what we are, and we need to go bankrupt. We are sacrificing our way of life for what? For Zelensky, for these Ukrainian crooks. Guys, wake up! This is really. I mean, like I said on last week's show, you go around here, Palm Springs, you have the LGBT sticker and the Ukrainian flag sticker, and I support Ukraine and I support LGBT. It all goes together.
And keep the state blue.
Well, I guess that it's a very sick world we are, but Russia, of course, is very angry, especially about the Patriot missiles. You have to understand, the Patriot missiles will need a U.S. support, a U.S. How you say? A military personnel from the U.S. will have to carry these Patriot missiles in Ukraine, and inevitably that is the beginning of the Third World War. I mean, just so you know, guys, this is not a joke. The Patriot missiles, and so what is Russia doing? Now let's see what Tucker said, and then I'm going to show you something.
But what's Russia's response? How close are we to something awful? Most Americans don't know because news from Russia has been cut off completely here. You're not allowed to know. It's been censored, as it is in North Korea. But you should know that the Russian Foreign Ministry has warned that there'll be, quote, consequences if the Biden administration puts Patriot missiles and U.S. personnel in Ukraine. Is that Russian propaganda? No, it's just what they said.
So that is, of course, Tucker's honest take on it. But the incredible thing is that the Russians are really moving forward with bringing their nuclear arsenal towards the West. Somebody's asking me about the Facebook connection. Well, guys, if you can't see it on Facebook, just go on the Facebook list description of the video. You will find the YouTube channels, and you can find us on YouTube and watch us on YouTube. If Facebook by any chance is censoring this video, just go on YouTube. Don't make such a big deal. We're working here. We are trying to offer you a show. It's not easy. We know that there is censorship. And so what can we do? Military. Keep going on. This is the Russian military transporting nuclear missile to Western Russia. This is really what we should be aware of and we should be fearing. This is not like they are bringing missiles so they can celebrate the New Year's Eve with some explosions in the air. Why you don't understand
My
me?
dress isn't even that. Just quit it.
Okay, so this is what is happening. The Russians are bringing their nuclear arsenal closer to the West. We should all be worried, and instead we are talking about rubbish. We're talking about the last Twitter saga. Of course, Twitter, there is this ongoing war, but it's a war that is a nothing burger. After 24 hours, Elon Musk has already reintroduced those journalists, leftist journalists, which he has kicked out. Now, Elon Musk has still not provided me with my old account, which is the Leo Zagami account. I have a minor account, which is the Illuminatorum Universalis account, which I use to access Twitter, but my account is still locked to the 20th of August when I was locked out of the whole thing. And they never gave me that account back. So, dear Elon Musk, you're full of baloney. That's what you are. And
you're full of shit. That's what I say.
Okay, welcome to the Leo Zagami Show, wherever you are. Remember to purchase the book of the moment, 700 pages to understand the level of manipulation. And of course, this book, From the Rise of the Antichrist to the Sound of the Devil and the Great Reset, maybe my masterpiece, Christian.
It is.
You think it's my best book, huh?
Absolutely.
That's good. It's good to know. It's good to know that I'm getting better.
I'm wondering what people think about it.
Okay, so we just showed you how the Russians are really getting very upset, and in the meantime, they are also threatening London. Yes, they are fixated. They want to blow up London. That's their first target before Washington.
London Bridge is falling down.
London calling, London calling. I'm sorry to say, but this is very bad news. As they are continuing to carry their nuclear arsenal towards the West.
Внимание, расчет, получен приказ. Дублирую приказ. Представляю донесение за пусковой установки.
Первый, все пусковые установки боеготовы, задержек к пуску нет.
Внимание, расчет, получен приказ.
Есть.
Дублирую приказ.
Не надо сначала по Вашингтону, слишком далеко. Лондон рядом. Лондон рядом. Но ведь сегодня, если брать вот эту Европу, так называемую, то главный рассадник всей гадости – это именно Лондон.
Может, вы серьезно говорите, что нужно ударить по Лондону?
Серьезно считаете, что надо ударить по Москве? Они об этом серьезно рассуждают. А мы должны стесняться говорить о том, что мы должны ударить по Лондону? Это не самое главное, что именно будет Лондон. Там весь город там поразить, там снести всех подряд. Нет. Это, опять же, критически важные объекты. Пункты управления, военные базы, аэродромы. Я вас уверяю, каталог у нас в генеральном штабе должен быть. Ну, точно должен быть, по-любому. И он постоянно каждый год уточняется. Или это в неядерном снаряжении, или в ядерном снаряжении. Если в неядерном снаряжении, значит, надо посчитать, сколько необходимо носителей, ракет, кораблей, самолетов, спутниковой группировки, которая будет там находиться, беспилотных летательных аппаратов дальнего действия. А удар по Лондону, как бы странно не звучало, это будет первое и последнее предупреждение для конечного центра принятия решений.
That's how it is. Somebody says it's a distraction. No, it's the continuation of the Great Reset. Like I described in volume 7 of my Confessions, this book here, which you should all get, available also in hardcover, but also in flexible paperback. Well, in volume 7, I described the 3 stages of the war, which end up with the nuclear. No? First, you have the biological warfare. That is basically the vaccine and all the rest, the viruses and all the rest. That is part of the second phase. The third phase, unfortunately, is the one that we just showed you. So it's not a distraction, it's simply the last phase of this Great Reset, because the Great Reset is about eliminating 3/4 of humanity, guys. So you can't eliminate 3/4 of humanity, or even more than 3/4 of humanity, if we have to go by the Georgia Guidestones, because that's only 500 million. At the moment, we have touched the 8 billion. So it's about eliminating, so in every way possible and imaginable, but it's also about convincing everybody that we are gay, so we don't procreate anymore, that we are all transgender, gender fluid, whatever fluid, that the children come out of a box and you can purchase them at the supermarket, because that's what's happening here. In the meantime, I want to show you guys the book in the houses of many of our fans, that you can send, a picture with a copy of my book to Ordo Illuminatorum Universalis at gmail.com. This is basically the book, the English edition, under the Christmas tree. Then we have a very pretty pic also here.
I love Christmas trees.
Eh?
I love Christmas trees. That's my favorite one.
This is Christy's favorite pic, and I guess
I like it. It's just so nice.
It's festive. It's nice. It's bright. Here we have another important pic. You can send us your pics at Ordo Illuminatorum Universalis at gmail.com. The book is arriving in the houses also now of English-speaking readers after the great success that is continuing to have in Italy. Let me show you also a rather big cat with this book. Here we have the biggest cat ever. Now there is also bigger cats. The main cats are bigger, but this is rather big. Here we have a big cat with the book. Big book, big cat. And then we have another photo, another pic. Remember, you can send your pics at Ordo Illuminatorum Universalis, gmail.com. Please leave a review also when you purchase the book. It's important.
Yeah, the reviews are really
I
important.
got 50 5-star reviews for the Italian edition, not one yet for the English edition.
We also get kind of Amazon sabotages, because I don't know why, because they make money off of it, so I don't know why they do.
Well, they stopped doing it in Italy after they flooded.
They'll put 4 stars when you really have 5.
When you only have 5 stars. So I got them to flood the whole
you have to
Amazon.
be basically flooded with reviews to get it to go up.
They have a lot of my books, as you can see here. Nice pic.
That's nice.
A nice divan. And then we have, of course, this more obscure pic. Welcome to the Leo Zagami show, the home of everything Zagami here. And and of course, my latest book is The Protagonist. We are delivering you all the latest news. And we are trying in some way or another to make you understand what is really happening around the world, beyond the mainstream propaganda. In Brazil, the situation is really getting out of control, especially after the federal police has arrested 80 supporters of Bolsonaro. You know, there was this contested election between Bolsonaro and Lula. The militaries are roaming the street. The situation is very tense indeed in Brazil.
Eita, Lula, vai pra roça.
The military in the streets, like I said, we are getting closer and closer to the possibility of a civil war in Brazil, that's for sure. But Brazil is not the only place where we have tension at the moment in South America, as I will show you in a minute. But continuing to show what has happened in Brazil, we can see that the people are also very much on the side of Bolsonaro, and they're very angry. They're very angry. I mean, we have people that are increasingly upset about what has happened.
At least they're getting upset.
At least they're getting upset. I mean, they never really got upset here in the United States, but it seems like in Brazil, they are really upset, and there are really a lot of people getting upset. Check this out. These are images from the last 24, 48 hours. These are people who are, of course, complaining of the arrest, and what is happening is like I said, 80 people arrested. The head of the justice system in Brazil is, of course, very corrupt. But the military, though, don't seem to be on the side. In fact, this military guy is kind of making it very clear.
Forças Armadas! Forças Armadas!
On the other side. Now they're going on the other side, but when they
Deixa ele falar. Fala conosco. Nós temos alguma esperança? Toda.
What is happening in Peru? Peru also, you know, remember there was a thing of attempt of the Peruvian government representing corruption to force continued elections and the constitution of the years. Well, in Peru now the situation is worse. There is a lot of tourists stuck also in Machu Picchu at the moment. This is what is happening. What you're seeing is Peru, the streets of Peru, ever so chaotic, with what seems to be a civil war. Hundreds of tourists are stranded in Machu Picchu amid this protest. For those people who are stranded there. Well, yeah, my brother went there for his honeymoon, and like I said, about 300 tourists from around the world have been left stranded in the ancient city of Machu Picchu, according to the mayor, after Peru is being plunged in a state of emergency following the ousting of the country's president. Former President Pedro Castillo was impeached and subsequently arrested in early December after announcing his plan to dissolve Congress. The arrest sparked by his arrest has prompted international warnings about travel to Peru. We have asked the government to help us and establish helicopter flights in order to evacuate the tourists, said some representative that is trying to get, of course, even the Americans that are stranded there out of this mess. This is happening in Peru as we speak. The Leo Zagami show keeps on bringing you news. Please support us. We would like to be, let's say, more present in your houses every week. Of course, without your support, that would be not possible. And in the meantime, the Russians are bombarding. They are bombarding the heck out of Ukraine, and this is what is being said by, I think, their deputy interior ministry. The situation is very bad. I mean, all the electric plants, the whole system is being. They're being brought back to the dark ages by the Russian bombing that probably will also move to the next phase of the confrontation at the beginning of next year, because when it gets really cold, that's when the Russians really move in. And they might
in February?
No, now in January they might move in from Belarus, so they might attempt to even take Kiev, because this is what they do, you know. They are in fact training martial artists and other training with the Chechens. This is training that is happening in Chechnya.
Задайте адекватный вопрос. Чуть-чуть усложним. Усложним каким образом? Одна троечка идет справа, вторая троечка идет слева.
They are training basically the Chechen militias to combat. This is a typical guerrilla fight that usually happens when you want to take over a city. So they are training their militias, the military, the Chechens are considered military of the Russian Federation, into preparing to eventually enter a big city like Kiev. This is basically what they're doing here. Somebody is asking me, Leo, how connected to the music scene were you back in the day? Read volume 8 and you will get the answer. I don't think I played many video games. These are the Chechens, which are the most ruthless of the Russian Federation military. So they are not really to be joked around with. So when the Russians are preparing for just a counter-attack that they have received many setbacks during the last few months, especially because of the intervention of the West in favor of Ukraine. It seems like the Ukrainian, I was talking about the Ukrainian deputy minister a moment ago, that he said, you are supposed to following the Leo Zagami. So where we bring literally a rundown of the recent news, not history, and we do it with a unique perspective, my own experience, geopolitical analysis, books that I've written. Ukraine is, of course, asking for more and more money, but in the end, they get more and more missiles. So that's how it is. That's how it is. Somebody says the microphone is not sounding very well. So let's see if we can make it work better. It will take a second to re-enter the studio and fix it. Here we are, and you should be listening to us even better than before. We have fixed the microphone, so test 1 2 1 2
1 2 3 4
1 2 3 4. The Leo Zagami show continues, and we were going back to Ukraine, where basically there is some 70 missiles today. In the last 24 hours, 70 missiles, cruise missiles from Russia. They are literally destroying. I'm going to show you the damage that they are inflicted in the last 24 hours. I think that soon there will be not much left, even if they wanted to intervene with a nuclear missile or a nuclear atomic tactical bomb. I mean, there is not much left at the moment in Ukraine. This is Ukraine's deputy minister, and this is what he's saying. Welcome to the Leo Zagami show.
Right now we have only preliminary information. Around 50 cruise missiles have been shot, and we already have some blasts in Dnipro, Kharkiv, Kryvyi Rih, Kiev and Kiev region. Our anti-missile system works.
This was yesterday. By today, it got even worse.
Quite well, but due to the high quantity of cruise missiles
this, I mean, you never hear about this
by Russian Federation, launched by Russian Federation,
we
we
watched
still
last
face
night. It is
some difficulties. Unfortunately, we have already received information that some cities are already cut off of the electricity.
So a situation which is getting worse and worse. Of course, we hear little clips and things that might be happening, but the focus is always on the rubbish. Remember, the mainstream news tends to focus on rubbish, especially when they have a war which they are not winning. Obviously, nobody can win this war, neither on one side or the other at the moment, it seems, but we will see probably the worst of this war in the coming weeks and months. So get ready, because that's what's happening here. Somebody says the soundtrack for today. I don't know. I mean, that's an interesting one. We continue to discuss more and more the news of the day, and there was in Berlin this catastrophic event, a giant aquarium. We've been to Berlin, me and Christy, 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what happened, there was this giant aquarium, and it exploded, and basically thousands of fishes died because of the cold. And I think that the problem here is that the difference in temperature, you know, it was like a giant, more than one floor full of fishes. And it kind of exploded. And I think that it's definitely due to some kind of temperature difference. It's not natural to have all these tropical fishes in the middle of cold Berlin. I think that is the problem. But of course, it's a unique event. A lot of people have talked about it. Why am I talking about it? Because it's also a symbolic event. It's also a symbolic event. And you will say, why is it a symbolic event? Why? Because we are indeed in the age of Aquarius. We are entering the age of Aquarius. We're not in it yet. And this, it's definitely a bad omen for the age of Aquarius, no? This is the aquarium that explodes in a city like Berlin. Berlin, by the way, Germany has a lot more serious problems than the explosion of this aquarium and thousands of fishes dying, because the military, the German military, said they only have weapons for 2 weeks. If they get attacked, they can defend themselves only for 2 weeks, because they have given all their weapons to Ukraine. These idiots! So Germany has given all their...
You guys are dumb.
It's so damn. The age of Aquarium, after the age of Aquarius. The age of Aquarium definitely is a bad omen, but for Germany is increasing big problems regarding their electrical situation, the possibility of heating themselves up, it is a very cold winter, as it is here in the US, also in Europe. So I don't know. I mean, Germany will be struggling and will be struggling more and more.
I said that Germans are dumb, but we don't have a very good government right now. So I mean, I can't really talk.
But we have some dumb people here too. Huh?
Absolutely.
We can go and compare, especially.
I mean,
with
we
Joe
can't
Biden.
really. I mean, it's always the government. It's always the government.
With Joe Biden, who says he's not stupid, but he is married with, I don't know, I mean, the guy is completely demented. Donald J. Trump finally gave, he announced he was saying something the day after, then on TV they went and they said he was selling some stickers, I don't know, some BS, but in reality, he has made a speech which I find very interesting. Let's listen to a little extract from it regarding free speech in the US and the current situation.
If we don't have free speech, then we just don't have a free country. It's as simple as that. If this most fundamental right is allowed to perish, then the rest of our rights and liberties will topple. Just like dominoes, one by one, they'll go down. That's why today I'm announcing my plan to shatter the left-wing censorship regime and to reclaim the right to free speech for all Americans. And reclaim is a very important word.
He wants to do it the day after he's reinstalled. That's what he says here. But
in this case, because they've taken it away. In recent weeks, bombshell reports have confirmed that a sinister group of deep state bureaucrats, Silicon Valley tyrants, left-wing activists, and depraved corporate news media have been conspiring to manipulate and silence the American people. They have collaborated to suppress vital information on everything from elections to public health. The censorship cartel must be dismantled and destroyed, and it must happen immediately. And here's my plan. First, within hours of my inauguration, I will sign an executive order banning any federal department or agency.
So what do you think of this, Christy? He should have done it. He should have done it before, eh?
I mean, it's very rare that you get a second chance lately. So, I mean, I wish you would have already done it when you were saying do it, you were saying Trump should do it, and then he didn't do it. But I still like him, I don't care.
It's crazy.
I think he will try to
crazy.
do that. Maybe he didn't realize how bad things were. Maybe do you think he maybe didn't know that it was so bad?
He had very bad advisors. He was surrounded by very, very, very bad advisors.
He shouldn't listen to anybody.
I think that is a big problem. His advisors suck, and unfortunately they brought him on the wrong path. And
do you think that Melania advises him?
Well, he advised him on Dr. Oz, which was a complete failure. That's for sure. That's for sure. I mean, absolutely. Do you want to take a call before we close down the show?
Okay, we can take one.
Well, we can maybe open the line and see if somebody wants to call in for a question or two regarding today's topics. We want to thank all the people who, of course, tuned in today. We ask you to share this video in your social networks of choice. Put like, which is very important. And now we're gonna open, as is our tradition, for the last few minutes of the show, we will open the phone line. Now, those who have already the phone number, then Christy remembers the number of memory. Do you remember memory?
970. I forgot my.
You forgot?
577-6369.
You forgot?
577-6369.
It's 970-577-6369. That's it. So you have a great memory, Christy.
Not really.
Why not? Okay, let's put it here. +1 for those who call from outside the United States. If you want to call, we will leave the phone open for the next 10 minutes. Thanks, Bruce. Great week in review updated. Absolutely. We are trying to do our best here. And we are glad that a few people appreciate it. Welcome to the Leo Zagami show. what you want to discuss. Of course, the topics of today, without going too much out of topic. What's your name and where you calling from?
Hello, Leo and Christy. It's Ian calling from France. Bonsoir.
Bonsoir. Okay, from France. Recently, I guess it was a general, a former head of the Secret Service, I don't know, said that France is very close to a civil war. Is that something that you feel by being there, that you are close to a civil war in France?
Well, it's interesting because I went to London this week and I got home in France, and I felt like France is a little bit more organized in terms of the proletariat. Can we just say that? I feel London is very segregated and France is a little bit more, but let's just say they had a revolution in recent memory, so they're a bit more organized.
But the problem is that it seems like the immigration and what has created, especially in the last few years, it's giving problems, security problems. I mean, we have seen the never-ending churches being banned, damaged, and so on. And so it's not like France is in a good position at the moment.
No, I agree with you, Leo, and I think that France is an interesting place because it's a lot bigger than people realise, and the landmass and the population, and there's a lot of history here. There's a lot of deep history, and there is a diversity of culture and belief and stuff like that. And I think it's not.
It's like France, I think, at the moment, it's very much focused on the World Cup as they have entered the finals, I think. You know, I'm not really following it. But
yeah, you know, the opium of the masses, you know, and all that stuff. You know, it's like, let's throw them a bone to take their eyes off what's really going on. And actually, it's interesting because Macron's been very, very quiet lately, compared to when COVID was around and he was on the TV all the time telling us, you know, what good children we needed to be, putting on masks and stuff. But, you know, I'm an English immigrant in France, as you know, and I'm just, you know, just trying to do my thing here. I wanted to ask you, Leo, I put a comment in the comment section.
Yeah, well, it's a little bit out of topic for today. Also, sincerely, I don't really follow this. So this guy you were mentioning, he might be plagiarizing me, but I don't really care. People are free to do whatever they want. In the end, people know that my work, of course, is there first. And so whoever wants to absorb it and relate in its own way can do it later on. I mean, it's always important to be the first, then later on.
Absolutely. And so Leo and Christy, both of you, you know, thank you so much as always for what you do. Your books are incredible.
Did you get the volume 8?
They are. Yeah, I've just ordered it. After our last conversation, I actually ordered volume 1 because I'd already had volume 7, and yeah, I went down the rabbit hole, and so I've ordered them all.
Good. I wanted to ask you,
that's how you support people, eh?
Absolutely, and that's how you support also the show. So thank you so much for what you have done. As you are there in France, you know that the UK government arrests only 0.3% of the illegal boat immigrants that arrive from France, and they also have apparently arranged for, like they used to do in Italy, you know, hundreds of hotels in which they put all the immigrants and stuff. This is happening right now, no? In over 400 hotels being used to house illegal boat migrants in the UK. What do you think about that?
I can't comment because I like to comment on personal experience. But when I was in London this week, my 77-year-old, it's the mother of my sister's husband, broke her hip falling on ice because there was a lot of snow, and she had to wait 9 hours for an ambulance at 77 years old, and that's all I can say, you know.
Wow, that's terrible.
It's not like it was when I lived there, but, you know.
Oh, now that seems really bad. I mean, it seems like Great Britain is having a lot more problems since the Brexit, and probably they are kind of attempting every way possible to sabotage Great Britain after the Brexit. At the same time,
I totally agree.
Diversity
Absolutely started to destroy it. It's almost like a sacrifice. You know, Britain is like the ultimate sacrifice. If they can take that I for the masses. I get that feeling like they're really trying to destroy it.
Let me show you a video, a very funny one, that a friend of mine who speaks very bad English, Telesmunto, did. He went to interview these people who were protesting against Brexit in London a month ago. Check this out. It's pretty funny. We can comment it together. Of course, we have the classic, no?
Ragazzi, ho già fatto la telefonata a Zagami, tutto ok. A voi la linea. Ragazzi, questi sono i taxi.
Now check out these guys who are actually protesting, saying that, and you should see how convinced they are, and it's quite insane to see them. Of course, here we go.
Where is this? Where is this? Brexit. Now let's talk about the Brexit. Where is this situation?
What is the situation?
See, you explain me.
Brexit is a disaster.
Disaster, yeah, I know.
It will never be. It's never going to be completed because
my friend pretended to be on their side to see what they will say. You see,
it's such a disaster. It's ruining this country economically and socially in many ways. Too many ways to say. And people don't like to talk about it because they're the ones who are responsible for it.
I'm from Italy. I know this situation.
This young lady
and
is silly.
You are from Italy. This problem for nosotros.
Then he speaks Spanish.
Nosotros italiano, no.
It's hilarious, man.
I'm the Telesmunto. I am television in the world. Telesmunto. You explain me this situation.
Anti-Brexit.
The Brexit.
Anti-Brexit, anti-government.
Anti-government.
Yeah.
Okay.
Particularly these gentlemen, Sunak and Hunt. Yes.
For you, this nice, the Brexit.
No,
no?
Nice.
No exit. Do you want the Brexit? Do you want the Europe, the UK?
Yeah, we wanted to stay in Europe. It's too late
stay
now.
in Europe.
We've now left, but we want to make them answer for the mess that they've created.
Pretty ugly women in favor of getting back into Europe, I must say.
I think Swalwell was in that video.
You wouldn't mess with her, would you? You would not mess with her.
Absolutely, man. I think that our correspondent was also had a sense of humor to really take the piss out of the whole thing. So I thank you so much for calling because you inspired also this last brief moment, which. Sorry.
He's laughing.
We need a laugh.
We need to laugh. I mean, look at this woman. Look at this woman. What?
They created a terrible mess.
No, they're on fire.
Okay. This notizia.
Don't be mean.
Okay. Oh yeah, it reminds me. Yeah, it reminds me.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Everybody be nice.
Everybody be nice. Genesis Peerage. You can find all about them in Volume 8. So I mean, it's actually, and I remember when Genesis Peerage.
I say that to help your viewers who maybe don't know who he is, but that woman looked like Genesis Peerage reincarnated.
Absolutely, and I must say one thing: Genesis Peerage, when he was a man still in the early 80s, he used to come and visit my grandmother, and he used to ask my grandma to basically stay for a few hours in the house. He would go into the bathroom, dress up as a woman, come out, and then have tea with my grandmother at 5 o'clock. And I was like, who the heck is this weirdo? And he was telling me things, though, that were interesting. He teach me how to look at the movies in a different way, because he will always point out on what was going on wrong in front of the camera, like if there was something that you can't really notice at first hand, but like
okay, like a hologram.
No. Like, for example,
mistakes in the film?
Mistakes in the film. He was fixated with directing me on the mistakes of this scene or this other scene. And then one day he came to me and he gave me, remember still, a plastic bag full of vinyl. And it was all house music. It was 1986. And I said, where do you get this? Oh, they fall off a van, he said. They fall off a van. I don't know. It was all, I mean, this Genesis Theology at the time was, of course, doing the whole thing with, he had been doing with Brian Geisen, who had just been...
Temple of Psychic Youth.
You're going to really like Volume 8.
Definitely
You're going to love it.
Because it has all of this and more. So thank you so much for calling in. Call the next time, of course. We have reached the end of today's show. We want to thank all those people who have kindly tuned in today. Rambo, yes. Where is Rambo?
Oh, he's hugging his feet.
Oh, Rambo. Oh,
He's hugging his feet.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, then you want to leave him there? Oh, sweet.
I don't want to take him off.
Rambo is sleeping, guys. So we're
He's
gonna.
hugging his feet. Like, he puts his feet by his face and he hugs his feet. I can't wait.
It's too cute. Okay, guys, thank you so much. Please purchase this book if you can. And we will see you for sure next Saturday for our weekly rundown of the news. Please continue to support our show with GoFundMe, Fundly, or Cash App. And of course, the more you support us, the more shows we will do. So I hope that we can also maybe join you during the week if that happens. All the best. Take care, guys.
Bye, everyone. Have a nice Saturday.
This is the English edition.
We'll be back on Christmas
This is
Eve.
the Italian edition.
Christmas Eve.
That's it. And a little bit more from Palm Springs, California.
Don't be a perv.